Okay, I was just making sure it's recording. Um, but yeah, I want to, just come on here and talk about some news that came out today while I was working. I also checked to make sure the mic's on, you but I wanted to talk about some news that came out, and I do apologize. I'm a little tired. I worked today and everything, so yeah. If I fumble around my words here, I do apologize. That's mainly the reason why. But yeah, news came out today that I think particularly we've been waiting for quite some time, and that is the fact that um, today Warner Brothers had their, I guess you could say their investors presentation or something today, where they talked about a lot of things coming to you know to the services, to the channels and stuff, but mostly the streaming service. They announced that um, the basically the new service or upgraded version, rebooted version of the current service they have, which is HBO Max. It's going to primarily be focusing on family and kids, going forward. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean they're going to stray away from, adult-oriented content, like, well, not, adult-oriented content along the lines of, you know, uh, tits, like tits, boobies, you know, ass and rear and whatever you want to call it. They're not. They're not. I'm not talking about that kind of adult-oriented content. I'm talking more of the, content that's like 14 MA will have a bit of nudity, maybe eroticism in there to help progress the story, or maybe because certain characters that are like a main focus, like a romantic couple, are having an intimate moment. They're not going to stray away from those kind of programmings and everything, obviously. But the main focus going forward outside of that is going to be family and kid content. And, they showed off a lot of trailers and made a lot of announcements. Gremlins, The Secret of the Mogwai, the animated series they've been, talking about, which is obviously a prequel to the Gremlins movies, is going to be premiering next month. They also talked about that Rick and Morty is getting an anime spin-off, basically called Rick and Morty the Anime. That's coming in the fall. That's also an example of not straying away from the adult content, if you will. They talked about Tiny Toons University. That's coming out in the fall as well. As well as there's a lot of shows that went off of the HBO Max service that got highlighted during the presentation when they made the announcement of the transition of the merging, if you will, of both platforms into one. A lot of the shows that got taken off, some of them at least, were highlighted as part of this presentation, like they were highlighted in the background as an example of what the primary focus is going to be going forward. And honestly, if honestly, if they're going to put a focus, an emphasis and focus on family and children's content starting next month, and the reason for removing and now bringing back some of these shows is to help put that is to basically help them emphasize what they're looking at structure wise, then okay, we have okay, we now have a better understanding as to why they did it. But the big news, of course, that everybody's been talking about with this presentation is that it was talked about and rumored for quite some time that HBO Max, when they merge with Discovery Plus, would just be known as Max. And obviously, by the thumbnail that you see, along with this video, that's apparently what they did. That's apparently what they went through or went with. Max, with the A kind of representing what Discovery is, because with Discovery, one of the primary, I guess, imagery that's associated with it, Discovery Plus, that is, the primary imagery is basically the big circle, or the big what is it, circle or ball or whatever it is, period, in the middle of the O shape of the D, in the word discovery. So they're putting that little emphasis, that little like period, if you will, in the middle of the O shape, the circle shape for the A, that's emphasizing that this is going to be, one hybrid system. Now they did say that there's going to be a couple of tiers. One of the tiers is going to be with ads, and I think that's like the $6.99 tier. $15.99, which is ad free, is going to be the second tier, and then the ultimate tier, the ultimate package, if you will be $20, basically $19.99. Now, me honestly, if I'm going to go with any package, I'm going to go with ultimate because I have a 4K television, and if part of that ultimate package is presenting shows and movies, in 4K, then I'm going to want to have the best option, in my graphs for that. Now, the bigger question that a lot of people have is this going to be a separate service, and everything? Are we going to have to cancel our current HBO Max service? Well, I looked this up online, and apparently that's not going to be the case. Instead, just like a lot of services that have been bought out, merged into, and all that throughout the past several years, you will keep your current service. Your subscription will still be there. It's just basically what's happening is you're getting a reboot of the service you currently have. So in other words, you're going to be getting, a lot more added to your structure. In other words, it's going to be, like I said, a bit of an upgrade, a update, if you will, like our computers here. Like mine's scheduled to do an update or resume its updates, on the 21st of this month. And whether or not I can pause it again after that is, up in the air. But still, it's scheduled to do its updates, its window updates, on the 21st of this month. And what that means is sometimes it's just minor updates for improvement and stuff like that. And sometimes they could be feature updates where it's, something new entirely. And, basically once you, update it and then shut it down or whatever and then turn it back on to complete the updation, if you will, you'll see whatever is new, whatever is new that was part of the update has been added or restructured. Like when Google does their updates sometimes for the browser, Google Chrome that is, when they do their updates for the browser, some things change, some things stay the same. For example, the download feature used to be like when you would download something, you would see it on the bottom of your screen downloading. Now it's got the download option on top of the browser right next to the URL interface, if you will. It's got it right next to that, to where when you download something, you'll see a list of everything you've downloaded previously along with what you're currently downloading. That's basically, as strange as this, as a comparison as that is to make, that's basically what you're getting here with HBO Max, with this Max upgrade, if you will, this Max change, if you will. You're just getting a lot of what was known to be on Discovery Plus's streaming service added over to HBO Max. Now, what's also interesting about this as well is the fact that the interface, which a lot of people is always curious about, like, okay, what is the interface going to be like? Well, according to a lot of sites and sources, that were watching the presentation, I don't know if they were there live, but they were watching it. Basically, the interface is going to be very similar and familiar to what you have right now with HBO Max. So the interface is not going to change too much. There are going to be changes, but not too much, to where you'll get something new with the interface, but you'll also get a bit of familiarity. So overall, when I look at this, I'm like, because, like a lot of people, I was curious too, like, am I going to have to switch services and all that? And thankfully, that's not going to be an issue. Instead, it just be like, you're basically getting an upgrade, an update to your service. You're getting a major feature update for HBO Max, and the end result is it's going to just become Max, and that's about it. It's kind of like when Fandango bought Voodoo, I think from Walmart. I believe, yeah, they bought Voodoo, if you will. Basically, Fandango kept everything the way it was. They made a few changes here and there. Were able to integrate some movie titles, and licenses that were possible in the past and everything, but still primarily stayed the same. Although it's now under the Fandango name, on the Fandango household, if you will. So yeah, and guess what? When that happened, nothing changed. My account pretty much, remained the same. It pretty much remained the same. Nothing really changed. So outside of that, you know, I look at this presentation, and with the main focus being, hey, this is what our service is going to be like now. As I check something here primarily. Hold on for a sec. Okay, got plenty of time. Got a little bit of time here, but still, I look at this presentation overall, and I'm cool with it. I'm okay with it as long as there's no issues whatsoever, which there probably will be because of such a merger and integration of different streaming services into one. But overall, I like the fact that it feels like it's basically going to be, like I said, like a featured update um, on your software, on your Windows software, your Mac software, your Apple software, you know, or your Android phone or your iPhone software. I like the fact that it basically feels like that. Like basically, it's just getting a makeover, not a not a extreme one, but enough to where it's you're gonna have some. It's gonna be under a new name. It's gonna have somewhat of a new look, but it's gonna have familiarity to it with the interface and the fact that if you're a current subscriber to HBO Max, and I'm assuming Discovery Plus, you'll still be able to keep that subscription, but it's going to migrate over into the new Max service. And honestly, for me, I think the best choice for any of the tiers that they're offering is going to be the 1999 because again, I have a 4K television and I want to get the most out of my subscription. I mean, I'm already paying what $17.99 for Netflix. What's $2 more when it comes to Max? And it's supposed to launch around May 23rd, exactly around the same time Gremlins, Secrets of the Mogwai is going to be released, along with some other stuff as well. But I think it overall, as long as it's not going to be that big of a change, just more like a feature update change, if you will, I'm cool with it. But what are your thoughts? Let me know down below. Comment if you like. And until next time, guys, I'll talk to y'all later.